Hi, Ulrich Leinhase. Lately, the news is filled with a lot of chicken littles. Instead of claiming the sky is falling, they're talking about the end time. They're saying the economy is crumbling, there's going to be earthquakes, a supervolcano, or an astrological event like a comet crashing into the earth. These headlines have spawned a TV program that addresses survival. Doomsday Preppers. The program is about people getting ready for Armageddon. They show preppers storing food, water, and ammunition so they'll be ready and able to survive during and after a catastrophic event. Something the program stresses: to be absolutely prepared, preppers should also be storing specific items they'll be able to use for barter and trade, stuff like liquor and cigarettes. At the end of the program, each prepper that was featured in the program is graded to determine if they have any weaknesses in their survival plan. Just for discussion, let's say that you and your family, big-time preppers, hunker down in your shelter and survive whatever catastrophic event occurred. You come out of your shelter. The first thing you see are a few people. The next thing you know, there's a whole bunch of people around you, around your shelter and your stuff. Here's the question. Now what? What are you going to do? This scenario reminds me of some of the stories my dad used to tell me about what happened during and after World War II in Germany. Specifically, how the war, a catastrophic event, affected the people. He told me that even when the bombs were exploding, there were people bartering and negotiating for all kinds of things. He also said the single biggest problem: no one trusted anyone. Right after the war, he said that many people were starving. Everyone tried to get what they could for themselves and their families. And food was something these desperate people were willing to steal and kill for. I was too young and don't remember what happened, but my dad was able to negotiate our family out of East Germany. He was able to accomplish our escape because of his communication and people skills. That's how our family escaped to the West. Unfortunately, he died never knowing the Berlin Wall came down, something he never believed would happen. Before talking about negotiating and bartering after a catastrophic event, what we should be talking about are your current communication and people skills. Because if you believe you have a problem now, what do you think will happen down the road after a catastrophic event? And you have to barter and negotiate with people that are desperate, hungry, and armed. And if you think your communication and people skills will somehow improve with a gun in your hand, you're sadly mistaken. Remember, everyone you encounter will also be armed. And after a catastrophic event, people aren't going to trust anyone. People are going to be desperate, hungry, and armed. Under these terrible circumstances, how will you communicate? How will you barter and negotiate? If you have any problems with communication and people skills now, when times are good, how will you communicate when you're in a pressure cooker and your life and your family's lives are on the line? It doesn't matter how much food, water, ammo, or bartering goods you've invested. It doesn't even matter what you plan to barter with. If you don't have good communication and people skills, you could lose everything. Everything you've stored to survive. Or worse, you and your family's lives. I present workshops and teach communication, people, and selling skills. Salespeople attend my workshops to improve their communication and people and selling skills. Guess what? Aren't these the very same skills that you have to successfully communicate, barter, and negotiate, even after a catastrophic event? I teach how to interpret what people really want to do by observing the subtle tells you may not have realized that were taking place. Tells that become obvious once you learn how to spot them. In other words, we all have our buttons. What's important is that we all show our buttons, and by doing so, display our attitudes and emotions. If you know how and where to look, and how to translate these tells, you'll have an idea of what others are thinking. Imagine if you could pierce through their mental veil to learn what they're really thinking and what they really want. Armed with accurate knowledge of what's really going on inside their head, imagine the edge you'll enjoy And imagine what that edge will do for your communication and people skills, especially during tough times. For more information about communication and people skills, you can go to Subliminal Selling Secrets on YouTube or to my webpage, subliminalsellingsecrets.com. Ulrich Leinhase wishing you maximum survival success.